Well, funny, isn't it? The moment that the US election ends, people actually analysing this with a rational head, seeing that the world much safer under a Trump presidency than we saw under Joe Biden. But when it comes to the America First tariff regime we're likely to see from the incoming Trump administration, Brexit is a huge advantage, but we should heed the warnings coming from those around Trump. And by the way, if you want to stay in touch with me, this is really important, please do go over to hever.news, sign up to my Substack so we can stay in touch, really important. But look, we know when it comes to the European Union, where of course governments, elected governments, are represented by the EU, they are getting warnings now that these tariffs, this plan by Trump is not a bluff. The EU Commission having jurisdiction over trade for those countries inside the European Union. And you've seen already this desperate scramble by the EU offering to buy more American gas. But we in the UK, and we should have got a deal done during the first Trump administration, it was a complete failure for our government at the time not to get a deal done with the Trump administration who wanted a big deal. We now have the ability to avoid this if we can get a deal done with the Americans. Now, Trump is going to get tough on communist China. It's about time someone did, frankly. We are now seeing this warning from a Trump aide, Stephen Moore, speaking to the Times, talking about a potential deal, talking about whether the UK will follow the EU model or not. Not exactly impressed, it seems, with Labour's budget, as many in this country obviously are not either. But talking in favour, and of course you didn't see any of this under the Biden administration, actually talking out in favour of a deal being done between the US and the UK and saying it would make sense to me. I think we do have a special relationship with the Brits, more than we do with the Germans and the French and the rest of Europe. Now, in terms of economic growth, in terms of economic prospects, just look at this statistic, that when it comes to the Eurozone and America, in 1990, US GDP per capita, 16% higher than the Eurozone's. By 2023, that more than doubled to more than 30%. Even the BBC admitting here that the US economy is powering ahead of the EU's, of the Eurozone's. And that is because, a very big part of it is because you saw gas prices there shoot up across Europe. It only went up slightly in America. And of course, that gets passed on to businesses. It gets passed on to consumers. But what the BBC leave out there is, of course, that's because of fracking. And even Kamala Harris, of course, the vice president, had to make it very clear, having previously spoken out against fracking, that she understood that natural gas prices would rise if fracking was banned in America. But look, the big picture is, this is a huge opportunity post-Brexit for the UK to secure a deal in our national interest. Brexit competitive advantage, instead of relying on the European Union to do it for us, as governments across the European Union will now have to do. The deal is there, as Nigel Farage says. Our government should be rolling out the red carpet to Trump. But we've seen, of course, some pretty idiotic statements from senior Labour figures about Trump in the past. Oh, and of course, we've got a Prime Minister in Keir Starmer who's been very clear that he doesn't actually want his government, this country, to diverge from EU rules. If they don't get a deal done, though, if this Labour government don't get a deal done, it's on them. As ever though, guys, I will of course keep bringing you all the latest on this and much more. So please do whack this video a quick thumbs up. Do check out my Substack. Head over to hever.news to be part of that. And of course, as ever, cheers for watching.